What does it take to win when you're disadvantaged in Apex? A lot of players always ask me this question, but they also want to be able to carry their teammates in a fight, or even better, carry them throughout the game to a win. So in this video, I'm going to break down multiple different fights in Masters Rank so that you can understand the fundamentals of winning fights at a high level. And the good news is, each fight will have different components to learn about, so stick around to the end. The three most important components that you want to be focusing on are space, time, and isolation. Now, for honorable mention, I'll throw in resources, things like ammo, heals, enough ammo, etc. But keep these four things in mind as I go ahead and break down these fights. In this first fight, I'm going to clutch up against TSM Imperial Hal. Now, Hal had killed me and my team in the previous game. And in this game, I had seen another Mirage on the banner with anonymous mode and pred badges as the kill leader. So I knew he was back in our game, or at least I strongly suspected it. Now, Hal and I exchanged some gunfire here in Harvester. I had to back up to heal and my teammates followed me. Once we got backed into this corner, I knew his team would attack us from different angles. You know, one might go for one doorway, another one might go for another, and then someone would probably come from the hallway. So when somebody opened the back door, I called out to push that. I got a 46 with my Peacekeeper on them. I could hear the team behind me. I outran that Horizon ult, got bamboozled briefly, cracked 100 on Hal, reload, swing out after my teammate does some damage. I have high ground, he has low ground. I drop to kill him, and then my teammate gets shot in the back. Now I had a decision. Should I armor swap Hal or should I push? Well, luckily my teammates were informing me that Horizon was very, very low. So I chanced it. I rolled the dice. I pushed her because I felt like, yeah, I'm 90, 80 HP. I could probably win this if I get there quick. They were giving me live pings and I was able to clutch it. Now, one of the most important things is just moving quick in coordination with one another. I had established very quickly with my teammates, once they opened this door out back, swing it and push it. They were not super together, and I was trying to use that as our advantage in this fight. Luckily, it worked out for us. Now, in the second fight, we're rolling up to epicenter because we hear some shots on this hill. I decide to push up and get closer because nobody was showing any presence. Then he peeks me quickly and hits me for 50. I re-challenge, but I miss. So I throw my ult because I feel like it's a good opportunity. Throw a couple nades. I tell my teammates they're in it. Hit a Valkyrie for this 100 plus, then down her. I retake my Q so I can get this bat off. Then I see the two enemies shooting my teammates, but both are down when I land. One of them calls that Horizon is low, so I'm able to focus her when I come back down off the gravity lift. Then it's a 1v1, but nobody had really touched Bloodhound. So I quickly play my teammate's knockdown shield, and I realize the 301 is not the best gun for this. Get a quick reload behind the knockdown. I shift to my right and then to my left, according to what I see the Bloodhound doing, and I get some big PK shots on this team. Now, this was some pred 3-stack. I'm not sure exactly who they were. It was a sweaty fight for sure. They almost had it, right? But you want to look for little bits of cover, and you want to look for the opportunity to dance in and out of the fight. And what I mean by that is dealing some damage and finding a safe opportunity to heal. The replenishing of your shields throughout a fight is often critical. Now, it's not always possible, but with legends like Horizon or finding nearby pieces of cover while your teammates are engaged in the fight can be crucial to getting that replenishment of your shields, and then you're able to tag back in and hopefully clutch the fight. All right, now in this next fight, I actually had to clutch up a 1v2. We were in fragment fighting and we were taking one fight and another team came in third party, so things got really hectic and it was honestly tough to assess what was actually happening. There's a seer ult that comes down and we weren't sure if we were going to have to like 3v6 here or if we're going to fight one and then someone with third party. But anyway, you can see I got somewhat of a good spray on one of the legends, but I got cracked in exchange. So once this seer Q comes down on me and I see them pushing in across the room and they arc star, I jump down to create some space. I need space because I need time to heal, right? Unfortunately, one of my teammates goes down here and gets thirsted. Now I do get a helpful seer scan here so I can get somewhat of a read where these players are at. Now my other teammate goes down. I scoop the banner. I feel like they're going to chase here, so I throw a thermite parallel to the staircase. It starts burning. Now the next most likely thing is the other enemy of this teammate who I didn't burn will try to go on the other stairwell. Why? Because it's the second quickest way to reach me on this middle floor, right? Wouldn't make sense to drop all the way down because then they'll be low ground. They'll have to come up. So I already naturally gravitate towards this stairwell. And who do I find? The seer. All right. Now you have to land some big shots, some huge shots. And his teammate challenges me right after. Now, luckily with those big shots, I do get it done. It's a 1v2 and it was a tight 1v2. I mean, they did not give me any breathing room. So every shot mattered. And at times Apex will be a make or miss game, flat out. And this kind of was one of those moments. But I think the thermite was really helpful because it didn't allow for them to swarm me, and it allowed for me to make a read on where I thought one might jump down to me, and I kind of caught him in the the open on the stairwell. So keep this in mind when you're in a building or when you're in an area where you want to predict the enemy's next move, right? If you can get ahead to where you think they're going to fight you from, you can kind of pre-aim it or be prepared more so than taken by surprise because you got jumped randomly. So knowing the map here is critical. Now, I don't want to give away all my secrets here, but what I do want to talk about is when you are contested off drop. Now, when you're playing ranked, it's good to focus on 1 to 2 or 3 spots that you like to consistently drop at. And the biggest reason is if you are contested, you'll be more comfortable fighting a team off drop. Now, my team and I like to land labs most games. We are very comfortable if we're contested, and we have a strict strategy to implement depending on where we see the enemy team landing. Now, as we land, I am honing in on this doorway, on this T building, as I like to call it, and there was no weapon here, but I find 2 mastiffs quickly. I hear his enemy in the building, crack him, hit him for some big damage numbers. I want to make sure he doesn't get away, so I get him when he's mid grapple. Now I'm feeling pretty confident. 3v2. None of us took any damage, and this team is probably scrambling. My team and I all have guns, so we're looking to be aggressive. They retreat a little bit and go into this forest here. Down the second one, here's the third one with a 30-30, and it's no match for my double mastiff combo. Now, we do get quickly third party, but we are able to stall this fight, so I picked the fight back up later on in labs. There's a Catalyst team, and they actually got fourth partied, I guess, and so now we're kind of being the third party to them. However, with all of her abilities, it stalls the fight. So I quickly reload, I start healing. I'm trying to wait out her wall because I figure that there's really no point in pushing in there and playing into the Catalyst's hand. You don't want to underestimate these defensive legends because honestly, if you push into their area and it's not favorable, you're setting yourself up to die. So once the wall goes down, I'm right there, I'm ready. I spam a couple grenades. I get some good damage, so I tell my teammates, hey, now's the time. We got to push in on this. Throw a couple nades. I see one guy was left behind. Isolate him, shift to the stairwell, use this wall as cover while I peek it with the Mastiff. 2 down, get the assist on the third. Now, once again, this is a place we're very comfortable fighting in, and it was really important just to wait out the Catalyst ult and then just have grenades here because grenades allow for additional openings that you may not get with your weapons, and you got to remember to use them and you got to place them correctly. This guy got isolated, and then these two were caught lacking, honestly. The aggressive push with the assessment of cover and just moving up on them really allowed for us to wipe this team pretty easily. Now, if you guys are enjoying this type of breakdown, make sure you subscribe for more Apex content. All right, let's talk about this next fight in Countdown. We had just left Skyhook and we had got some kills there, and we had heard something going on up here. Now, I'm scouting out as I'm walking up. I'm making sure to look around Countdown because it's a big POI. Now, we catch this horizon slipping, but then I find the lifeline. I get her really low and I instruct my teammates to push out. I had good opening damage here, and we don't want to let these guys heal. I get a little spooked because I'm the only one out here, and I'm telling my teammates, get out here, get out here. I nade Wraith out of her cover. I catch her slipping, down her, and then I push in. You'll notice I'm not healed, but I felt like we had enough opening from the damage I dealt to clean it up. I use my Mirage ult, thirst this guy because my teammate calls gold knockdown res. I get a quick armor swap. My teammate thirsts the other teammate, and there we find lifeline very low. Now, the key to this fight was just getting that entry damage and not letting this team breathe. If you give them too much space and you give them that time, they will heal and they will just mitigate any previous damage you did. Sounds pretty obvious, but a lot of players stall or they get apprehensive once they deal some opening damage. You have to really understand the trade-off of damage in Apex. If I deal 100 but take 20 or take 50, I still could have an edge. You still have to understand where their teammates are, because you don't want to just run at one guy because you dealt more damage to him than you took, but open yourself up for his teammate to just beam you, because that will happen in these higher elo lobbies. But you really have to be mindful of the damage numbers and what armor you're on and what armor the enemy was on, and you have to pounce off of any edge that you think is worthwhile doing so. The more you stall, the more you slow down or you let that team reset, the less of a chance you have when it comes to winning that fight. All right, now we're back at labs, and this is going to be a straight up 2v3. My teammate gets caught off guard by a teammate that's running up from capacitor, so I do my best to put down as much damage as I can, hopefully prevent him from getting knocked. I'm unsuccessful, so I have to quickly retreat. I'm going back to my teammate, and my teammate's holding for me. I place my drone down, I crouch, I pop a battery, and I hold a good angle from where I suspect the enemy team to walk into. Now, for anybody who doesn't know this, Lifeline drone will actually eat bullets. Now, it doesn't take damage, but putting it in front of me, staying low, and with Lifeline's small hitbox, I can actually use it as some piece of cover. But the most important thing here is predicting that they will push and trying to team fire one of them so we can equalize the fight. We are successful in doing so. I take no damage, so I push right back up. When I do so, I get arc start off, so I back up quickly. This gave my teammate enough time for him to bat, so now we're both fully healed. I look to re-enter. The second guy pushes, the thermite comes down, we get the knock. I pop a battery, I tell my teammate, hey, we got to go big here, we got to push in. It's 2v1. Now we're going to swarm this player. We're going to make sure that he cannot isolate us. And this was the key to 2v3ing them. Here's the deal. When a full 3-man team is either completely healthy or fairly healthy, and they are playing very close together, what you need to do is back up so you can string them along. Create some space so that one of those players will presumably separate from their teammates and isolate themselves, even if it's just by 2 seconds, 1.5 seconds. Every little bit helps, and that's exactly what we did. When the fight first broke out, I tried to put down as much damage as I could, but then I backed up and we strung them along, and this team fell right into our hand. It might have thought, hey, these guys are retreating, but no, we actually just turned and held from a better angle so that we could team fire them from just a little bit of elevation, and just from that positioning, we were able to equalize the fight. And from there, the ball's in our court. We can do that. So what you want to do when you're outnumbered is create space to get that isolation, and often you'll be surprised how well this can work. All right, in this last fight, we are coming into the later stages of this game. Round 3 is on its way to close, and we are making a tough rotation. There's a team holding us out from the sniper tower, and one of my teammates goes down. Now here, I have to assess, do I give away my positioning to go for the revive, or do I stay here with my teammate and see if one of these players will push up and we could isolate them? Well, I am on lifeline, and I talk to my teammate who's down, and I say, are you safe? He says yes. So I drop down to him and I start the revive. Now you'll notice my next move is to gravitate towards underneath this overhang. By doing so, this forces any player who's above me to drop if they want to fight me. This angle is not great, but it's the best I can do with what I have. Unfortunately, the teammate who I left to go revive ends up getting knocked. So now the guy I just rezzed is healing, and presumably this team is gonna push. I realize I should shift my positioning when I see gunfire come from above me southeast. Anytime a player has high ground over you, the best thing you can do if you can't take their high ground is just get directly underneath them. This minimizes the leverage they have for the most part and will force their hand to drop, most likely if they want to fight you. Unfortunately, one of the guys drops on my teammate, so I try to shoot him. I do crack him, so I instantly stick the res. If I stick the res and this guy gets antsy, he might push when he's low. He doesn't end up doing that, but I see his teammate grapple, so I throw an arc star, and then right when I do, the Loba drops on me. I get a pretty good one clip on her, but I get just enough time and space to do a quick 180 so I can reload. But the key here is I put her in between me and where I presume the Pathfinder to come from. This little bit of cover, although it's a downed player, works in my favor, and you want to look for any bit of cover when you're in these moments. Even if it's your teammate who's down, an enemy who's down, every little bit of cover helps. And that right there was the key to me winning this 1v2. It wasn't a 1v3 because the Bloodhound ended up dying to another team, but I was still successful in pulling this off. Now, it's not possible to win every single disadvantaged fight in Apex, but I hope through this video, I helped clarify some things and gave you guys some tips on how you can do this in your own gameplay. But be sure you watch out for these 2 mistakes for every legend. I covered it all in this video here. Be sure to check it out next. Thanks so much for watching. Peace.